Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of For Your Amusement. What episode is this, guys? Episode number 3, I believe?
Yes.
18.
In episode 18, all right. We have two threes and an 18, so, it's one of those. This is our episode on Journey to Atlantis. We're going to talk about all 3 SeaWorld versions, along with mostly Orlando's version, Orlando's being the one that had the most storyline and the best theming, in my opinion. And I say had because, well, we'll discuss what happened to that ride. Now, we're going to change things up a little bit this episode. We're going to talk about the ride-through experience of what the ride was, and then we're going to talk about some of our own stories of riding it, some of our own thoughts on it, and then we're going to come up with a brand new version of it that we will create in our minds and, not pitch to SeaWorld Orlando because they don't like unsolicited options or ideas. But, we're going to have fun with this. So, do you guys want to get started on that?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Let's dive in.
There you go. We're going to find Atlantis. Now, how do we find Atlantis? Does anyone know how you find Atlantis?
You get drunk and you go jump in the ocean.
Well, that is one way to find Atlantis.
You get isekai'd into an anime.
Get smacked by... You live in Florida and get smacked by a hurricane.
Yeah, those are all multiple ways to find Atlantis.
Hurricane
now,
me.
There you go.
I found Atlantis in my parking lot. It was so flooded, I was able to wakeboard.
Oh, all right. Now, I presumably you didn't find an old man who gave you a magical seahorse to guide you to Atlantis, did you?
No, that would have been nice.
Not even one.
Nice. Well,
my car probably wouldn't have been ruined.
Oh no. Well, that is how you find Atlantis, or found Atlantis, at SeaWorld Orlando. So we should give a little context behind the lore of the ride. I don't remember specifically all the lore, but the ride takes place in a Mediterranean seaside village. And part of the lore is that the mythical city of Atlantis has risen from the ocean, and you are going on a journey into Atlantis.
Well, yeah,
so naturally, a journey to Atlanta. Wouldn't that be
a Futurama episode?
Of course.
See, I'm a bit rusty on that myself. But so the queue of this ride, it's a good starting point, I think, talking about the queue and where the ride starts at. You basically start at this amazing entrance that says the ride's name, and you start weaving through a Greek-looking village. It's a very Mediterranean-inspired village.
It's not.
You walk through that.
It's a museum.
It's a museum. You're right. See, this is how... It's been a while since I've ridden this version of the ride. I think the last time I rode it was probably 2012, back when it was still a good ride.
I rode it last week.
Nice. So you are
never ridden it
our
at all?
Atlantean expert. In blue, you will be...
The novice.
You are the novice. You will learn all about Atlantis by the end of this.
I would have rode it today if SeaWorld didn't have a 3-hour wait to get inside the park.
Amazing.
Everybody in Florida.
That sounds like a blast.
Everybody in Florida all of a sudden goes, let's go to SeaWorld.
So, to get onto the ride itself, you go through this little museum and you learn a little bit about Atlantis. And you see some fishermen supplies and some fishing supplies and some boats and nets and all that fun stuff. I remember that ride queue had a lot of sponges in it for whatever reason.
A lot of sponges, and also had a pre-show.
It did, with a SeaWorld mime, which I thought was interesting.
We still walked around the park.
That's good to hear. Did they get rid of the pre-show with the mime, or did they keep that in?
It's still there. It's trapped in the 90s.
That's good. I like that. Keep it locked in the 90s. I want to say this ride opened... When did this ride open? This opened in 1998, correct?
I have a Google Doc. Give me 1 second.
Oh, perfect.
It opened in 1988, April 17th.
April 17th, 98.
98, yeah.
Oh, that's my birthday. Not when I was born. That was so this ride opened 2 years after I was born. That's pretty neat.
And it was built by Mack Rides. It's considered a water roller coaster. It has stain / its type is steel type water, and it has 3 chain lifts. It has the top height of 100 feet, 2 drops of 60 feet, top speed of 50 miles per hour. It does not go upside down not once, not twice, but 0 times. And
Zero times.
It's about 6 minutes.
About 6 minutes. Okay. So to get onto this ride, to start the ride, you eventually find your way into a little dock that's inside a little hut. And I say hut, it's not really a hut, it's like a little stone building, but you board a boat, and the boat, I believe, holds 2 or 3 people per row?
2 per row.
2 per row?
And there's
a few
4 rows.
4 rows total. Okay. So, you board your boat, and they're all different colored boats, at least when I rode it last. I know San Diego's have kind of all become this weird, ugly blue color. But,
yeah, they're all different colors. There's a blue one.
Orlando's still nice.
There's a blue one, there's a red one, there's a green one.
See, I like that. And then you depart the station. You leave the little dock, and where do you wind up? Well, in the original version of the ride, you wound up in a little canal space. It kind of felt like you were going through like a Venice canal. You can see it's a night, view. You pass by this little village, and a little window opens up, and an old man tells you, he says something about how Hermes is going to guide you, and he sends out. What did he say to you?
He said, "You ignored my message, but take this, Hermes, show him the way," and then it basically started going. But yeah, Hermes.
A little sea. What is it called? A seahorse shows up, and he guides you.
Yep, and he gets in some trouble and some misfits.
Exactly, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Before you get into the trouble, you have to find Atlantis. So, somehow we go from our canal, our little Venice canal, into an underwater space. It turns out the old man has somehow given us the ability to go underwater and breathe. I should say it's probably Hermes himself who has given us that ability, and he's guiding us underwater. And we see we see a lot of coral, we see a lot of little sea life, and we start to see, what do you see in the distance? You see this little mermaid siren person that scared the living daylights out of me as a kid because she looked very scary. And she's saying something along the lines of, come on, let's go closer. We're friends here. I give you the magic of Atlantis, I think is what she said.
Yep.
And then Atlantis appears. And then we're in Atlantis. We turn a corner and we wind up in Atlantis. And Atlantis is pretty darn neat. It's very Greek inspired. It's got a lot of really cool effects that happen in there. Now, do you want to mention some of these effects that happened? Because I thought they were pretty neat at the time.
Sure. So they have a couple of effects. It's mostly Pepper's Ghost and lasers and lights.
And don't forget the jumping fountains.
They did have jumping fountains. The jumping fountains are still off, which I don't understand why those are off. They're just water, but so you would go into Atlantis and you have boats. So you're on your boat going underneath the water, and you're going through Atlantis, and there's effects with the mermaid. I don't even remember her name, but
I think it was Allura.
Yep, Allura, that's right.
I have that name etched into my memory for whatever reason.
But yeah, she's
because it scarred you as a child.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But she was never really an animatronic. She was mostly a figure with a projector on her face. She was trying to get your attention and trying to lure you in to show you she was a siren. So basically the main effects they had was jumping fountains, projectors on a screen that had a figure behind it.
I remember that. That was the little statue that... that's where the jumping fountain started, right?
Yeah, and it looks like her face melts.
Yeah, I always thought that was terrifying, but really cool at the same time.
And they had animatronic Hermes, the little seahorse.
The little seahorse. I keep wanting to say sea lion, but no, he's a seahorse.
Seahorse everywhere. In pretty much every scene you see him cowering away from the mermaid. And
he's a very simple figure, but very expressive too. They did a lot of good sculpting on that.
Yeah, and then you would go... When you get to the lift hill, you would see a bit. The funny part is, let me show a picture for the person who hasn't done it real quick.
Exactly, we should say.
Yes, I want to see this.
Ridden this ride.
But so they left her there. They just turned off the lights.
Oh.
On her. So
they're doing a classic theme park thing where when they don't want to run something anymore, they just turn the lights off instead of removing it.
Yes, but it's still pretty noticeable. Give me a second here. I am looking.
No worries.
I'm looking through Google Images and Google Images.
Now, I should say too, there's a nice little. I felt like this ride had a very nice soundtrack.
They got rid of the soundtrack as well. It's just
and I was gonna say the only thing I think they've done that was okay was I don't mind the soundtrack they used in the opening and in the ending. We will get to the ending. The ending, of course, for some inexplicable reason, used the Beetlejuice theme.
Yep, it did use
the Beetlejuice theme. They did not license or own, but they just wound up using it, which I thought was amazing. But at the same time, I can see why they got rid of that to avoid copyright infringements. Yeah. But they did put some music from the one of their shows they used to run there. I don't remember. I think it was Allure.
Yeah, Allure of the Sirens.
Something like that. Yeah, it was like a show they used to have at Orlando. It was like a little circus show, and they had a really great soundtrack. So they recycled that soundtrack for the ride that they, I think it was 2017 was when they redid it.
But they still do use the Beetlejuice sound outside.
They do? Okay.
Because when I wrote it last time, that's what it seems like they were using.
Okay. I know they, because I hadn't read it in a few years, my aunt wrote it, I want to say in the last handful of years, right around when they changed it. She said they used a different song that I think came from the little circus thing they had that I was talking about. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves in this part. But this is, the statue's face melts away, as we said, and that starts the little jumping fountains that go place to place. And what happens after that? Because there was another cool effect that, happens.
They had fountains where Hermes was like, looks like he was floating on water.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on a plant. And then you would hear Laura go, "I'm done playing games." And then you would look up and you would see the link I posted in our little chat here.
Now that one does come a little bit slightly after this part. That one does come a little later in the ride. Before that one, I always remember you saw like her face on a fountain, and the little jumping fountain hits the like part of the fountain, and their face appears, and then she gets like real angry and turns into almost like a Medusa kind of looking thing, and that really scared me as a kid. Yeah. And the music got all ominous, and the lights started getting all weird, and then you turn the corner, and then you see that figure that you're talking about, where she's this giant like weird Medusa figure.
Yeah, that's leaning out of the attraction.
And she, it's like, it's a dark tunnel almost, and then you see like this big Medusa appear, and it was like really foggy, I remember. And this is when you're going up. This was the first lift hill, right?
Yep,
technically.
And it had red glowing eyes.
Yes.
The thing was just red lights.
It made some scary noises too, I remember, I think, unless my mind is just putting scary noises in, but...
Funny thing is, that's still there. Those red lights are still there. You just don't have them on.
Oh, fun.
And then there's two doors there where you think that you're going down that drop you see at the beginning when you're walking through the ride. But no, it's to a second lift hill outside. And if it's a hot Florida day, you will cook on your way up.
It beats down on you. There's not a lot of shade on that part of the ride. You go through, it's weird. I almost felt like that part of the ride was supposed to be full of water, but you're going through like an empty flume. And we mentioned this was a water coaster. You're basically on a roller coaster track at this point, but you're not doing any real maneuvers. You're just going flat and going through a little, canal.
It's rough.
And then you go up your second hill, and then, you wind up going down the drop. Now, something that always made me laugh was, and I don't know if this is just an OSHA thing that got implemented, but they play like a really out of character safety spiel before you drop.
Yeah.
And it always just made me laugh.
Yeah, the ride operator saying, "Please keep your all hands inside the ride at all times."
They had like some script they read off of when I was there. It was like, I think it was like, sit back, hold on tight. No, it was sit upright, hold on tight, and I think it was like prepare for a clash at the bottom of the hill or something like that. And I was like, they're hyping this up, but the way they're saying it is so out of character. It's just some dude in a booth saying, be careful, and then you go down, and then this is you're going down this big hill. It's a little thrilling, and then it's all peaceful. You think, the ride is over. Now, what happens after that? First off, there's a bunch of little pots that shoot out water that people can pay for.
Yeah, 50 cents.
50 cents exactly.
And
pretty much a money printer, I'd say.
You do a drop of like a 5-foot drop.
Yes.
And then you go through like a little cabin area where there's like.
Well, before that, you go through a little. I always remember you went through. It kind of felt like you're drifting away a little bit, and suddenly you go down that little 5-foot drop or whatever that was.
Yeah,
and like the music got all intense, and she goes like, "Oh, are you leaving so soon? Ha ha! Nope."
Yeah,
and then the boat starts going up. Exactly, or the third lift hill, I think technically.
Oh yeah,
right?
Third lift hill. Yep, and that's the best lift hill, I think, because you get to see people coming down.
Oh yeah, and this is where I always remember the Beetlejuice music playing.
Yeah, it was Beetlejuice outside.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm glad that's still around.
And they still play Beetlejuice at the second lift hill, but no longer at the third lift hill. There's no.
Oh, okay.
Third lift
hill. So, I have a question about this.
Yes, ask
me.
What
is with the just random little bits of stuff that they added in just because, like the Beetlejuice music? Or
they wanted to make this
stay upright in your car right before you go down a hill instead of before you ride the ride.
No.
Well, they want you gotta. I think it's an OSHA thing for the sit upright part. I think they have to legally tell you don't stay seated.
Well, I think because some people I've seen, especially in Florida, people not understanding things and trying to climb out of the ride vehicles on rides.
That happens unfortunately all too often. And I want to say
all those
the Beetlejuice music
nutses.
Yeah, the Beetlejuice music came out. They added that when this ride opened. I think that was like a movie that had come out pretty recently. I think Beetlejuice was 1994. I think. No, that was even sooner. What am I saying? That was the 80s. I think.
Yeah.
1988. Yeah. I don't want to think of 94. Yeah, 1988 was Beetlejuice. So that's just a song that, for this part of the ride, it made it sound really intense, and it really. When I remember riding this when I was younger, it really hyped me up. I was like, "Wow, this is awesome! This music's really amping me up." And then when you go into this last part before there's a second drop, spoiler alert, you go through this weird room where I think there's I remember there being sails, and it felt like it was like a crashed ship. Well, not a crashed ship, but it felt like it was kind of an ominous room. There was a lot of candlelight. There was a lot of really creepy ambiance.
All got rid of.
All got rid of? No! That was such a cool room.
It just black tarps and candles.
That sucks.
Wow.
I remember at one point you passed Allura one last time, and she said something to you, like how you'll never escape Atlantis.
And then you drop down a second curved 60-foot drop into a splashdown. And
I want to say they had Hermes was in here one last time, right?
No, he was not.
He was not. Okay, I'm making that part up. That's my mind is filling that in. Unless he was in there, his figure got unlit when I was younger.
Well, because I rode this a lot when I was a kid, I never seen Hermes in the final room.
Okay, so I'm probably imagining something else then, but
so Hermes
or maybe
disappeared.
Yeah, he just disappears from
forever.
The ride. Exactly, he's no longer relevant.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that has happened now. He has disappeared forever. Hopefully not forever, but it seems like it. But that leads us to the exit. You enter in this little, you crash down in this little kind of lagoon behind the ride, and then you enter back the boarding station, and that's generally speaking the ride experience. It's not a long ride. We mentioned it was about 6 minutes, give or take, but it was a fun ride. And for SeaWorld Orlando, when this ride opened in '98, there wasn't a whole lot of rides that were dark rides. I think they literally just had Wild Arctic and this.
Not Wild Arctic, the
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
You're right. And now I thought that was, when did that one close? Because I thought that was.
That one closed. Let me look and see when it opened. Bermuda Triangle. It opened. Mission Bermuda Triangle. It opened in 1997. It was their first ride in.
Okay.
Oh wait, it first opened. Okay, so I had clones.
Interesting.
So okay, I'm not on Okay, let me.
Oh, okay. I see what this was. So this was 92 is when Bermuda Triangle opened,
Yeah.
and 95 is when it closed, in Orlando at least.
Yeah, I was getting confused because I kept saying Ohio, San
Yeah.
Diego, and San Antonio. I'm like, okay, but it was basically a Star Tours ripoff.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting.
But I think that's
now,
what got
kids, I
replaced.
imagine.
Yeah.
It got that's what Wild Arctic I think replaced.
Wild Arctic did, yeah. And Wild Arctic, they just swapped out the ride video, I believe. I have never been able to find a ride video of this that's in like a good quality or anything. But it was a very short-lived attraction. It only lasted about, 93, 94, 95, about 3.5 years, give or take.
And
in Orlando, at least.
It was also SeaWorld's first attraction. SeaWorld did not have attraction for over 20 years because SeaWorld opened in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
It opened 2 years after the Magic Kingdom opened. It did not have any attractions until the Busch company bought it. The company that made Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch that made Bud Light and stuff bought SeaWorld. They bought SeaWorld Orlando, SeaWorld Ohio, SeaWorld San Antonio, and San Diego because they also owned Adventure Island, Cypress Gardens, and Busch Gardens.
Yes.
And then they seen that the Bermuda Triangle did well. And that's when they said, no, we're going to make Atlantis. And that's the reason, also the reason why we have Poseidon's Fury.
Yes.
Because Poseidon's Fury was originally going to be called Journey into Atlantis. And then, SeaWorld opens Journey into Atlantis a year before Islands Adventure opened. So, great, it changed the name of our attraction. So, but, like I said, they did sign a contract with Mack Rides where they had to clone 3 of these attractions. And each one of them are different. So you have the one in lovely state of Texas at San Antonio, and you have the one in California. Sorry, my Floridian was speaking.
It's okay, California.
Yeah, I don't want to bring politics into this podcast. But
that's fair.
But so you have San Diego, and you have San Antonio. The one in San Antonio, because I've been to all 3 SeaWorld parks. Granted, it was 2012 was the last time I was in California, and did go on this attraction at there. I was confused because I'm so used to one in Florida.
Oh yeah, and they made California's really it went downhill.
Like it has like a couple roller coaster elements to it. Mm-hmm. So you would go up the left hill, you would go do 3 roller coasters, then you take an elevator back up. And then you go down a drop. That's from what I remember. There's no theming behind it. It's pretty much...
Yeah, it was very, very light theming. It wasn't amazing. You had a cool water elevator part that, like, it took you onto this little track, and the track rose up on an elevator, and it kind of rocked back and forth a little bit. You had, there was a video of, like, little, not dolphins, but little whales, I think, swimming next to you, and then... That's when it opened up into a really heavy roller coaster part. Yeah. Nowadays, it's very, very disappointing. It's not that great. San Diego's opened in 2004. I remember being very excited for that and being a little disappointed because it wasn't as cool as Orlando's. I want to say they reworked it, I think, in 2018. I don't remember specifically. But the new version right now is just not the best. It's okay.
So it's changed since the last time I rode it. I
believe so.
I know Manta, another ride we'll have to talk about a different day. The Manta at San Diego is a launch coaster.
It's not as good as Orlando's, in my opinion.
Manta, I like both Mantas, but Manta in San Diego is a launch, and the Manta in Orlando is a laying down B&M coaster.
Yeah,
my favorite coaster in Orlando. But and then you have San Antonio, which is just a shoot the chute attraction.
Exactly, and that opened in 2007.
Yep, all 3 made by Mack Rides.
Yes, but you can tell the budgets kind of got less and less as each ride opened. Yeah, Orlando's was like an amazing dark ride. San Diego's was kind of impressive in its own right, but for different reasons. Than San Antonio's was just very basic.
But you kind of do need to talk about the exit of
Yes.
Orlando.
Of Orlando's, which I was very familiar with as a kid, because even though I liked this ride as a kid, it still terrified me. And a lot of the time, like, whenever I'd go to SeaWorld, my grandma would be like, let's go on Atlantis. And I'd be like, no, I want to go see the jellyfish in the aquarium.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it has a really
I think
cool
it's
plan.
like, I can't remember what it is specifically, but it was really cool.
The Jewel of Atlantis, I think.
Jewel of Atlantis. Okay. I thought that was a very cool gift shop because you get to see, it's just like a little indoor aquarium before you enter the gift shop. So you get to see, what do you get to see? You get to see like jellyfish.
There's jellyfish. There's a lot of different type of fish, but it's a tank
luminescent fish, I think.
There's a tank above you and a tank underneath you.
Yes, which I thought was amazing too.
And they have sharks and stingrays.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Does not have hammerheads because there's only one place you can see hammerheads at Orlando, which is sad because hammerheads are my favorite.
Yeah.
Shark, and the only place you can see hammerheads is in Manta.
Manta, which I thought was cool. Manta was awesome. I haven't ridden Manta because I used to be afraid of roller coasters, but I thought it was really cool, like seeing that whole area. And I went through the queue and I left and went through the exit, and I was like, this is amazing. Like,
you don't have to do the queue to do the aquarium.
Oh, I did that after too. Yeah, I just felt like going through the queue too to see what that side was about.
Yeah, you pretty much see the same stuff, but that has my favorite animal at Journey in Atlantis. It's my favorite thing to do at SeaWorld is go play with the stingrays.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that in San Diego too.
But this was definitely an attraction that has gone downhill, but it's still very popular. But
oh yeah,
it was one of the rides where like the only complaint about this attraction was the story made no sense.
Now, how do you fix a story that makes no sense? Do you wanna tell us what they did to this amazing ride, even though the story wasn't the most amazing story ever?
Apparently, when the ride went down for a refurb, they pissed off the guy who did the audio and the maintenance for the dark ride scenes. He got mad and got either let go or fired, or he quit. He took the key for the effects and walked off.
No kidding, really?
And then just took everything out.
Wow, I thought it was literally just like a budgetary thing. Like, yeah, we don't want to pay for all these effects, so
yeah, they didn't want
to turn it off.
Did they have the money to pay the guy anymore? So he got mad and left, and he took the key.
Dang.
That's what I heard from somebody who works at SeaWorld.
Well, now we have our insider source, our anonymous connection.
I remember when I was in the interview with a manager for a ride mechanic position at SeaWorld. I said, so what happened to that attraction? She goes, oh, someone got mad and took the keys.
No kidding. Oh, that sucks.
I'm sitting there thinking, can you just contact a locksmith and change the...
Hey, we'll go pick the lock.
Yeah, go...
SeaWorld, if you're hearing us, we will fix this ride for you.
You just gotta pay us more.
You can't even do that. But also at the moment, SeaWorld Orlando is probably the most struggling of the SeaWorld parks.
Yeah.
Just because they're competing with Universal Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
They're competing with Disney World. They're competing with Legoland, and they're competing with their family park, their relative park of Busch Gardens at Tampa. Because San Diego, they really don't have any competition. San Antonio, they don't have their only competition is Six Flags, but I really don't want to give my thoughts on Six Flags. But Six Flags.
We'll save that for a later episode.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't trust Six Flags farther than a throne. But
I will say though, San Diego's I don't think is doing as well as Orlando's in terms of, the new construction they're building. I think Orlando is still thematically doing the best.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like budgets because they have the penguin,
That's true.
They have the penguin ride that once COVID happened, they just said, "Oh, we're just going to completely not let you know there was an attraction here." But, but you to go see the penguins, you have to go through the queue of the ride, and instead of having you turn right to get on the ride, we're going to have you turn left to go to the penguins.
Yeah.
Now when you get into
Which
the penguins, you see the exit for the ride.
yeah, we should say too, and I'm sure that'll come up eventually. I don't remember what the ride was
March of the
called, but
Penguins.
the Penguin ride at SeaWorld, that was the first like theme park use of a trackless ride system in the United States, I believe. So they somehow beat Disney to that.
I think it was just in Florida.
Just in Florida? Okay.
I might be wrong, but I think it was just Florida.
Of the big theme parks, I think they were the first, though. Like, Universal hadn't used that, and Disney hadn't used that in California, not in California, in the U.S. yet, at least.
Yeah, because
Not counting Tower of Terror in Florida or
Mystic
Great
Manor.
Movie Rider Ellen.
Yeah, because Mystic Manor was a trackless ride system.
Where's the
so if you wanna
intern?
go-
We need him to fact check this for us.
Yeah. If you want to go back further to that, Pooh's Honey Hunt in
Japan.
Tokyo Disneyland, I want to say was the first time that a theme park had really used that system. And that opened, I want to say, like early 2000s,
Yeah, so
if not sooner.
the technology's been there. And
Yeah.
I will say this from somebody who was just at Disney World, because I'll say this on the podcast. I finally broke, after living in Florida for a few months. I finally broke and I did buy my annual pass for Disney. I can only go Monday to Fridays, but Friday's the only day I can go because that's the only day I can either work a half day and get off at 10 o'clock, or I can just tell work, screw you, I'm not coming in today. And I can just go to Disney. But after Friday, I'm not going to work a 6-hour shift, go to Disney, and then go to Horror Nights afterwards.
There you go.
That was a pain.
Now, we talked a little bit about Atlantis, about the ride experience, and some of our own thoughts. Do we want to say anything else before we move on to the next part about the different versions of the ride?
Well, it's definitely a ride that I think it's still extremely popular when you're at Orlando right now. It's definitely probably one of the more... This ride and Infinity Falls and Icebreaker are probably the three most popular rides at the park. Because Infinity Falls and Journey into Atlantis are the two water rides, and you can get wet on Journey into Atlantis, but you don't get soaked. Infinity Falls, you're rolling the dice. You're either walking off that ride dry or you walking off that dripping wet. And then you have Icebreaker. Icebreaker is usually the most busy attraction, but it's also the most maintenance problem ride. I think with me living as long as I did, and I've been going to SeaWorld almost every week, I think I've only rode Icebreaker 3 times.
Jeez. So it's just that down for maintenance?
It's
all
down
the
for
time?
It's down for maintenance, or it has a really long line.
Boy.
But those 3 rides are always the ones that have the longest line. Mako's, even though Mako's probably one of the best roller coasters in Orlando, or I would say in Florida, that's always a walk on when I'm there. Mako, usually a walk on. And Kraken, it's a walk on because that ride beats you up.
Yeah.
But Journey to Atlantis, minimum, unless you go on a day where you can park in prime parking and just pay $25 instead of $45 for parking, you can tell, like, oh, it's not going to be a dead day, a busy day, and Atlantis might be a walk on. But 9 times out of 10, if you go in the normal day when the park is busy, you're looking at a 2-hour line for Atlantis. So Atlantis still draws a lot of people because it is a air-conditioned, long water ride, it's fun.
Which is especially nice in the hot Orlando summers.
And also, SeaWorld Orlando, I would argue, is probably the hottest park next to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, I could see that because it's a very humid park.
Well, there's really no shade in City.
That's true too. I do remember that very specifically.
Yeah, because SeaWorld's the park that I don't even go for a full day just because of how hot it is to go there.
Yeah.
Ah, the perks of living in Pennsylvania, where every theme park has 8 million trees around it.
Yeah, because I usually wear jeans, and SeaWorld's like the only park I can't wear jeans to. Also, most of the rides you do get wet on, so I don't like getting wet in jeans.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does, to be completely
And
fair.
also, SeaWorld, if you go to any of the SeaWorld, I mean the Busch Gardens or SeaWorld parks, if it rains, they'll give you a comp ticket because they have a rainy day guaranteed. So if it
Oh,
does,
that's nice.
so if you are at SeaWorld or at Busch Gardens and it's raining, go get your comp ticket.
That is very nice to know.
Doesn't matter if it's raining for 15 minutes or 3 hours. Get your comp ticket. Come back a second day.
That's very considerate of them.
Yeah, because they'll if a moment any of the attractions shut down for weather, they will give you a comp ticket.
So now, let's talk a little bit about what we would do if we could make this, a brand new ride. Because
for me, this is probably like one of my few ride or dies. Like I have like 7 ride or dies, and this is one of them.
Oh yeah, well this was a very amazing ride when it opened, and I'll be frank, they completely neutered this ride.
It's still fun though.
My idea: rewrite the story so it makes sense, or make a story in general.
Exactly.
Again, theme park rides are always more amusing with like a little background story.
I have a better idea. You take it.
Oh yeah.
We pick up Splash Mountain. Put it here.
Make this Splash Mountain.
Splash to Atlantis.
Splash to Atlantis.
There you go. Well, that's a great transition into our idea that we had about giving it a blue sky like update. Like what would he? So let's talk about, because they neutered this ride. They made it very, very basic. They took away the tiny story it had. What little story it had is completely gone now, and it's really just left as a very mild, I'm going to say kind of boring ride compared to what was there. You still go through Atlantis, you still see some of the sights. I guess you don't see the jumping fountains anymore, and you don't really see any of the characters. There's no real reason of why you go into Atlantis. So, let's say that we're given a blank check. We are SeaWorld Orlando. If you're listening, we will design this ride for you. You can utilize our ideas as long as you give us give us a lifetime pass to SeaWorld or something.
All the profits. All of them.
Yeah, all the profits of this ride that is not charged separate admission.
I will settle for a SeaWorld Cleveland t-shirt. I remember going to Jogga Lake back in Ohio.
There you go. So that is our respective prices. Ian wants 100% of the profit from this ride that is not generating any additional profit aside from the gift shops, which is not part of this blue sky plan.
Exactly.
Flip flops here.
Here you go. Ryan just wants a shirt from the now defunct Ohio SeaWorld, and I want a pass to go into SeaWorld.
Look, I have an annual pass, and I get $6. I get 6 free tickets, and they give me enough free stuff. I don't need anything else. You
don't need anything else. You just want the retro T-shirt. That's fair.
I just want to go back. And ride the villain. That's all I want.
That's all we want. So how would we make this ride better? How would we improve this ride? Make it better? Change it up?
You want to go first, Ian? Don't blow the hurricane back at me.
So. Okay, listen, I only did that once for a couple of days in a row.
I was out of power for a week.
I don't know. So I don't really have the chance to ride these sort of rides very often. I think the closest to it we have is the log flume at Knoebels.
Okay.
That has almost no story. And it's just kind of boring, so I never ride it.
Okay.
So
what would your dream creation be?
So it's about 6 minutes, right? The whole ride?
Yes.
Yeah, give or take.
You can do a lot of storytelling in 6 minutes, even when you're going up and down hills.
You're not wrong.
A lot of storytelling. I don't know where I would go with it, though. Maybe to Atlanta instead of Atlantis. Go to the Coke factory.
No, you just bring back the Futurama episode when they went to Atlanta. Fry's trying to get the mermaids. Bender gets mad and starts stealing things. Fry realizes he can't have sex with a mermaid. Gets mad. Swim away.
So that's our dream Journey to Atlantis remake.
And then
this is what we would do.
And then you have Bender walking on the water going, Bender's great. Bender is great.
Yeah, no. Keep everything exactly the same except put Bender in it somewhere. There you go.
All right, so that's your blue sky plan.
By next time, no less.
Mine would be, okay, here's my blue sky plan for how I would redo Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld Orlando. I would put the story back in. I would basically say we're going to put all the story back in. We're going to pick the lock to the effects control room. We will turn all the effects back on. And then what am I going to do now? Let's demolish. Let's move. Okay. Let's take the Antarctica thing. We don't need the ride back. The ride, I don't think the ride is very amazing, but let's keep the penguins because penguins are awesome. Let's take the Antarctic area. Let's pick it up and let's drop it down next to Wild Arctic and Icebreaker. So we don't have two Antarctic themed areas of the park. We have one. We have one cohesive land. Now, what do we do now? Well, Kraken, they kind of neutered too back when they made it a VR coaster.
It's gone. No longer VR coaster.
It's no longer VR. I knew that much. I didn't know if they made any attempts to make the theming more coherent because they really didn't.
No, they just painted it blue and green.
Okay, so they did. So they did the SeaWorld San Diego method of let's just paint this ride blue and green, and with a little bit of yellow, maybe a little bit of white. Call it a day. So we have we have Kraken next door, and we now have an empty plot of land where we have literally just somehow picked up the entire Antarctic area and put it by Wild Arctic. Let's make an Atlantis mini land. Actually, no, let's make an Atlantis land. We're not doing a mini land because we have a huge land space now. We're just going to build you get to walk through Atlantis. We'll add another little ride or something. And then Kraken will make it themed something like that too.
No, we're going to make it Atlanta.
We'll make it Atlanta. You start in Atlanta and somehow you wind up in the little seaside village and now you're in Greece.
Oh,
and you find yourself in Atlantis. As it turns out, because of continental drift, Atlantis sunk right next to Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
A landlocked city.
It's a landlocked city. Somehow, continental drift. Some Atlantis got buried. Well, Journey to Atlantis, Journey to the Center of the Earth, we'll combine the two of those. Two completely different properties. Two properties that have never existed in the same time in this park. One property has never existed. And specifically, it's going to be the Brendan Fraser Journey to the Center of the Earth. We'll somehow make a tie into that. So basically what I'm saying is we're making this whole area the mysterious island from Tokyo Disneyland, but with Brendan Fraser and Atlantis. And Kraken, a roller coaster.
I'm correct here. It wasn't correct. It wasn't that drift thing. What happened in Futurama was Atlanta got mad with the U.S. government and Georgia. They picked it up with a bunch of helicopters. They dropped it into the Atlantic Ocean. It sunk.
I love it.
And then
it sunk.
Oh, perfect.
And then they became
the lost city of Atlanta.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. And then
so they pulled a Grimace Island from the old McDonald's cartoon and they just picked up and moved it somewhere else.
Yeah,
yes.
Wonderful.
And then when Leela asked Fry, "Go, oh, do you remember going to Atlanta?" Oh, yeah, I remember the airport. I got some candy nuts from there. Wow, candy nuts.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to combine this with Blue's idea now, with Ian's idea. We're going to put Bender throughout the land. We're going to somehow license this property that is no longer being produced.
It's Disney.
Disney, I think Disney owns the property, so we're gonna somehow. Well, you know what? Universal has The Simpsons, so why can't Universal has Simpsons and Marvel? Why can't SeaWorld Orlando have a Disney property too?
It's because Fox exists.
They're remaking Futurama now, though.
Oh, no kidding. Well, this is good synergy. We can say, look, cross promotion. You get what IP does SeaWorld have? You have Shamu. They don't really utilize Shamu very often anymore. You have the sea lions and otters.
Sesame Street.
I don't remember their name. You know what we'll do? We're not gonna give. We're gonna loan Disney the mime.
You mean Sesame and in return, Street? They own Sesame Street.
Well, they own the theme park rights to Sesame Street in SeaWorld, I think.
Yep.
So what we'll do is we'll give them Sesame Street. We can put Sesame Street next to Muppet Courtyard.
Well,
and MGM.
That kind of fits because Michael Myers not Michael Myers. I'm sorry, I just watched Halloween.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, perfect.
We're putting Michael Myers in Sesame Street.
only on Halloween.
Michael Eisner tried to buy Sesame Street when he tried to buy. He did. Muppets.
So we'll put that in. We'll make it an homage to that. In return, we're going to take Sergio the Italian mime, the juggling mime, and we'll put him in our new Atlantis land. along with Futurama. Well, we're going to have a weird mishmash of things, but we're going to give him his own little land to roll around in on his little gondola-shaped skateboard. He should be his own episode of the podcast eventually, a whole episode on Sergio the juggling mime.
He lives in Florida. I could find him. I'll offer it.
Dude, wouldn't that be amazing? We have other podcasts have these amazing interviews with like Tony Baxter and like Tom Morris and all these other Imagineers, and we have Sergio the juggling mime. But that would be. That would be amazing.
It would all have to come to Orlando because it can't be a audio podcast because he can't talk.
He can't talk. He just has to juggle.
What's his name again?
It's Sergio the juggling mime.
Hey Sergio, what's your opinion on this?
He just juggles.
He just shrugs.
That's fine.
Well, actually, hold on. If you've ever seen a show at Epcot in the Italy Pavilion, he does blow a whistle. That's how he communicates with people. He blows a whistle and gestures at them. So this is I'm unironically, and this is a tangent. Every time I go to Epcot, I make it a point to like look at the times that he's out there, and I will sit and wait for his show to start. I waited half an hour one time for his show to start just so I could see him roll out on the little gondola, and I was so happy. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm so glad I flew like 2,000 miles to see this. This is amazing.
All I had to say is, Sergio, you have to watch the pre-show of him because he has the best facial reactions the whole time on the rides. And then when it goes, warning, you may get wet. He's just standing at the loading platform, and they just throw like 3 buckets of water on him.
Yeah,
and
it's like literally, you could just tell some guy standing off camera just throwing buckets at this guy.
And he strings his hat and then shrugs.
I don't know if the SeaWorld mime has a name, but we're gonna replace him with Sergio from Epcot.
Ironically, he had shows today.
Who?
Sergio.
Oh yeah.
The mime bit from SeaWorld or the one at Epcot?
At Epcot.
Sergio the mime, yeah. The juggler.
Epcot or SeaWorld?
At Epcot.
At Epcot.
Okay, we were talking about SeaWorld. But, yeah, I love the mime.
That's amazing.
I like how multiple theme parks in Orlando have mime characters. I love that. It's amazing.
But now it's my turn to do a blue sky face.
Your blue sky idea. So Ian and I have combined our ideas. I want to hear your idea now.
I'm going to give you my jokey one. I have 2, but one's a joke.
Okay, mine was completely serious. I'm just kidding.
I have one that's completely serious, but I also have one that's a joke.
Part of mine was serious, saying I want there to be an Atlantis land with the story back.
So here's my first one, the joke one. I think you guys should know this by now. SeaWorld has Hollow Screen. I have gone both years that it's been available. It is a fun event, but it is a one night only event. I would not go second night to this event.
Okay.
So it's a fun event, but it's not that great. I think they open up Journey into Atlantis, but they have Michael Myers following you through the attraction.
I love that.
Because that would be fitting. Michael Myers, he's always there, stalking you. And at the end,
instead of Hermes, it's Michael Myers guiding you along, but you're running away from him.
Look, you can do it cheap. All you have to do is put his mask on a human, like a foam mannequin head, and put it on a stick. I had to see his face.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
And then you play the song from Halloween.
Yes, they've already cut so much of the lighting, so I think it's fine. Yeah, the lighting's already cut. You don't have to worry about it. You have perfect ambience set up.
And then look, just play the Halloween song instead. And then all you have to do is just call it Journey to Atlantis Halloween H2O.
There you go.
Just copy the name.
Yes.
Copy the name from the Halloween H2O movie. Put Michael Myers' heads everywhere. And then,
as it turns out, here's how you do it. Because that is no longer in the continuity of the new Halloween movies. We just license that separately.
Yep.
Problem solved.
Yeah, because I just watched all the Halloween movies again today. I had a lazy day today, and I just watched Halloween from the time
I mean, hey, it's October. That's the way to go.
It's also my favorite movie series.
Oh, you can't go wrong
with horror movies.
It's so classic.
But so yeah, that's my jokey idea because it's Halloween, my favorite time of year.
So my only thought with your joke idea, wouldn't it be more like fitting to do Jason because, well, lakes?
Yeah, but Michael Myers.
But Michael Myers is funnier.
It is funnier
for this idea
because Michael Myers is always following you. He walks so slowly and ends up catching you every time.
And because the second one was named H2O.
No, it was Halloween. It was Halloween 2, then Halloween 3, and then Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6.
You're right.
You're right. H2O 20 years later.
And then H2O. I completely forgot about that.
And then, but my real blue sky idea, because I do love this ride. I'm also a water ride connoisseur next to a wooden roller coaster connoisseur. Those water rides, like wooden roller coasters, are my favorite things at a theme park.
Yes.
And like my favorite ride at Universal Studios Orlando is Dilly Do Right. My roommate hates riding it with me because I get so excited. And also for the person who wants to get soaking wet on the water ride, I come off dry 90 times out of 10. No, 99 times. 99.
That's how it works, though.
Yes, I always come off dry, and then he always comes off soaking wet. He gets mad at me. In the funny part, I usually sit in the front row. And somehow end up
there you go. That's the secret. Sit in the front row if you don't want to get wet.
But, so we take all 3 versions of this attraction, and we somehow fuse it together.
Okay.
So you start off your ride in the Orlando version. Halfway through the Orlando version, you go into the San Antonio version.
Okay.
So after the first drop, heading to it, you just out of nowhere go up and you do the thing for the San Antonio, the 2 bunny hills, into that drop. And then you're like, wow, that was great. And then you just go into San Antonio's version. But the only difference is you have the San Antonio version in a building. The whole thing in the building.
Okay. So it's enclosed.
Enclosed.
I like that.
And it's just an aquarium where you have fish. Not
okay, I like that.
Not any fish. Which is even more weird with this. It is freshwater fish. There's alligators in there. There is bluegill. There's bass. There's things that make no sense in there.
So you're just grabbing the Florida animals.
Yeah, you just have the
local sea life.
Yeah, you got the Florida sea life in there. You're like, what the heck's happening? Next thing you know, so you do the drops for the sea. The whole time when you're doing the drop, you have the fish swimming around you. Making those
I like this.
Then you crash out. You're like, that was weird. Then you go up to third lift hill over Orlando. You're like, what? Yeah, at this point, you're already dripping wet because you already went down like all these water drops. You're like, man, Splash Mountain has nothing on this. So then you go up the third lift hill from Orlando, and then you go through the thing. But the only problem is, someone at Orlando figured out how to turn on the effects. They finally
figured it out.
And then
it only took them. I think it changed. I think, like I said, 2016 or 2017. It only took them a whole lot of years to figure that out.
And then you do down the final drop, and then you have Bender on the water drinking beer. Going, Bender was great.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
perfect. So that is our dream journey into Atlantis.
That is my dream.
I like that.
Because this is my ride
I like it.
dies. I do.
Oh, absolutely. You're combining all of them. I would say my one addition to yours would be take San Diego's version, add the little elevator effect, but as it was in 2004, that was pretty darn cool. So, put that in somewhere, put in their outside track, we're all good.
I have a crocodile on your ride vehicle.
Exactly.
It's Florida.
It's not animatronic, it's an actual crocodile.
Yeah, you can pet it.
Exactly, he's trained. He's trained.
Yeah, trained.
Or you can have a meal, because we do eat gator down here in Florida.
Gator is pretty good, I have to say. I have had alligator. I like it a lot.
It tastes like chicken.
It really does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it does. It tastes like very rich chicken.
Yeah, I've had it. I don't remember it tasting like chicken. I thought it tasted
Okay, so
like...
we need to...
It has a gamey texture, but it tastes...
It does?
If you want something real to compare it to, I think it kind of tastes like eel.
Okay, well, I've never tried eel, but it does remind me of...
Almost slapped with eel.
Yeah.
We can take this argument outside, sir.
There's eels at SeaWorld. I'll take it to SeaWorld and the whack you with an eel.
I do miss the eels that were at the exit of Kraken.
Yeah, those are gone.
Those were always so cool. Because, again, when I was a kid, I didn't like roller coasters. So I literally just sit in the exit building just looking at the eels for like an hour, waiting for my brother and my grandmother to get off of it.
But, yeah, this is definitely a good attraction. We do need. It does need to make a comeback. It's still popular, so it's just a shame.
We just want the story and the effects back,
please.
Just break that door down and turn them on.
Because there's only two pretty soon. Because Disney's about to have their way and ruin one of the best attractions in the state of Florida. So.
Now, which one is that?
Splash Mountain.
Yeah. I still think the best attraction in the state of Florida is Poseidon's Fury.
You said WD right wrong.
You're allowed to have your wrong opinions.
That's the hill I'll die on. Poseidon's Fury is my favorite attraction at Islands of Adventure. Actually, no, Spider-Man is, but Poseidon's Fury is a close second.
Quick question then. Poseidon's Fury or Epcot? You mean the Spaceship Earth?
Spaceship Earth.
Well, no, you just contradict yourself. You said Poseidon's Fury is the best one right in there. Oh, would you rather ride Spaceship Earth?
Poseidon's Fury is technically an attraction. It's a walkthrough. Spaceship Earth there's two categories.
Okay, Karen.
All right, fair.
It is a 45-minute attraction.
I can't even say I have a favorite ride in Florida because I haven't been there since 2001.
That sounds like a personal problem. I live here.
There you go. I think my other favorite attraction in Florida, my favorite ride rather, what am I thinking of? There's you know what it was? It was El Rio del Tiempo at Epcot at Mexico that got replaced with the Three Caballeros.
I just ate there.
I see. Yeah, that's a nice restaurant. I almost bought a margarita there, and then I found out that the margarita was $30, and I was like, "Oh, never mind."
I ate at the outside Mexican restaurant, and I had
that's a good one.
I had a burrito bowl for $13. Couldn't find anywhere to sit because people were being rude as can be. They would let me take the free seat next to their family because who wants to let a lone adult at Disney sit down next to their family? Yeah,
that's fair.
So I sat down and I got to look at the ruined skyline of
the front of the park.
No, the ruined skyline of World Showcase because of Harmonious.
Yeah.
Got to look at the giant screens where I said Disney World's 50th anniversary, and they were doing work on it, and they had someone welding. And as a welder here, you should cover up your welding area because I see all these idiots looking at people welding. And there was a family next to me going, Dad, what's she doing? They're staring at the arc. I said, hey, even from this distance, don't look at that bright light. They're like, why?
What are you doing? You're burning your retinas out. Don't worry about it.
I said, you go blind. They're like, how do you know that?
Fine.
How do you know that I've been welding for 12 years? And they go, oh, what is he doing over there? Welding? He's not just welding.
He's welding.
He's TIG welding because I could tell because of the light color. Yeah, he's TIG welding over there. I want to look at TIG. That's the brightest of the welding.
Yeah, please don't look at that. That is going to burn your retinas. Don't
Even
do that.
from this distance.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when people go, how do you know that gator is a baby? It has stripes on it. Because you can tell if it's a baby gator just by if it has stripes on it.
Oh, yeah.
How did you know that I'm a Floridian?
Because I have family in Florida that told me that, too.
Man, living in Orlando, you do realize you mostly talk to tourists.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this ride's definitely a good one.
This is, to this day, I know they changed it. I still like it. I haven't ridden it in person yet. Since they've changed it, but I want to.
I have another great idea. We take out the Atlantis stuff. Okay, one more blue sky. We take out all the Atlantis stuff.
Okay.
And you walk in. The first room, it's downtown Orlando. And we call the ride Journey to Florida.
All right, I like this. You basically, so you're pulling a Disney's California Adventure where you make a park about the wonders of California in California.
No, it's just one SeaWorld, nowhere else about Florida. There's just this ride, but it's called Journey to Orlando. And I like it. Now, you have all the stereotypical Florida stuff going on.
So in place of Allura on the second lift hill, do you replace that with a giant alligator?
No.
With glowing? Okay.
No, you replace it with a giant news article that says Florida man does blah blah blah.
A giant cracked out white guy.
With glowing red eyes staring down at you.
Yes, and then the whole thing's just people doing like stereotypic Florida man stuff. Gators in the water. Right. Gators everywhere.
This is like, you know what this is like? It's a Small World, but for Florida.
And then, because nobody knows Orlando is more than just the theme parks. So you just have the theme parks in the corner. You have Universal, you have Disney, and then you have SeaWorld. And you're going, oh, I could be going there, but you take a wrong turn, and it takes you to the swamp, because Florida's either you're in the city or you're in the swamp.
It really is.
And then you go up the first lift hill. Then you have the I-4 eyesore. Here, let me find a picture of this, and you the I-4 eyesore, because I live right next to this building. And you have that, instead of the beauty of the building for what's it called, where the thing is for the Journey into Atlantis, instead of that, it's this. Let me find a picture of it. Oh great, I pulled up memes. You have
yes.
No, this building's called the Majesty Building in Orlando. But it is called. But this is what us Floridians call the I-4 eyesore.
The big goofy building.
Yes, it's right next to where I live.
It looks like a cartoon building. Yes. Like it really.
It's like too far from downtown Orlando. It's like 10 miles from downtown Orlando. It is a skyscraper in the middle of nowhere, and it was a building that they built, and then the company who built it went out of business.
So it's cursed.
So it is an abandoned building. It has never once had a person in this building other than construction workers. So
fun.
Everybody who lives in Florida hates this building. So how funny would it be? You just drop out of the building, and you have Florida, and the next year it's just Florida man chasing you out of Orlando. Because people from Orlando, it's funny, because Florida is considered, like, people go, oh, the people of Florida are so nice. Meanwhile, they're being nice because 90% of the people that work in the hospitality industry, but most Floridians are like, I freaking hate you, get out of my state. I want to be able to get where I'm trying to go without getting stuck in rush hour for 12 hours.
Welcome to the LA experience, my friend.
LA experience in Florida.
Floridians are so angry, I don't understand why. But yeah, that's my blue sky. We changed the ride.
Those are our ideas.
Journey to Orlando.
SeaWorld Orlando, if you're listening, we will redesign this ride for you. We will somehow work out the licensing agreements to get Futurama in. We'll trade, and Sergio, the juggling mime from Epcot, we'll have him make a guest appearance.
Or we can just use their mime. His mime's
exactly. But Sergio's iconic.
Yeah, but SeaWorld mime is kind of iconic for just SeaWorld.
Well, you're right. Okay, we'll double the mimes. We don't trade the SeaWorld mime. We'll give SeaWorld Clyde and Seymour. Not SeaWorld, Disney World. You guys can have Clyde and Seymour, and
but not the dog from Futurama. That Seymour stays.
No, exactly. That one we license out specifically.
And then we also have one Michael Myers mask somewhere hidden.
Yes,
just one.
Somehow, we don't negotiate with Universal. We as they say, ask forgiveness. Don't beg forgiveness. Don't ask permission. We'll do that.
I think if anyone from Universal Creative or their lawyers went through that and they seen what Michael Myers randomly saying in the corner, they'd probably laugh. Yeah.
It
makes sense. It's a creepy dark ride now because there's nothing going on, just background music. I was like, just see Michael Myers in the corner.
Put a fan on him so he sways every once in a while in the breeze.
It would just scare everybody to death, but I think everybody would laugh.
I think that'd be great, though, to be honest.
He's in the water coming out.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Then you realize it's a man, not a figure, and then you have a knife in you.
Now, is there anything else we want to add on to this?
No, I think that was great.
Perfect. Well, that's our close. This is our closing remarks now. You heard it here. We're going to put Michael Myers in Journey to Atlantis, along with
Bender.
licensing and Bender. We're going to license Futurama, and we're going to get the Epcot mime so we can double SeaWorld's mime capacity. So this is our. If you're listening, SeaWorld Orlando, hire us. We'll help you out with this. You've heard our terms. I just want a season pass. Ian wants. I don't remember what you wanted. You wanted
100% of the proceeds of the ride.
100% of the proceeds of the ride, not counting the gift shop. So, it's a pretty easy sell right there because the ride doesn't generate additional profit on its own. And then Ryan just wants a vintage T-shirt. So I think those are pretty good terms. I'm the only one claiming something that's significant monetary value.
Like $300, just get one.
You're right. It really. You're right.
Well, in California, it's like $250 for a top tier.
Yeah, so that's how we'll do it. We're set. You don't lose that much money. You only lose a few $100, and like looking through the archives to find the T-shirt design.
You know what?
And writing a check for $0.
Maybe throw in I don't know, a bunch of exotic tropical fish or something.
You know what?
Okay.
I would tell Ian he could feed the stingrays give him a tray of free stingray food.
There you go. That's we'll win
Beautiful.
You that way.
Perfect.
Eating the stingrays.
Dream come true. Feed stingrays for the second time.
Eating stingrays at SeaWorld is like the best thing ever. It's probably one of the few things I'll actually spend money every time I go to SeaWorld. It's just because...
Oh, you can't not feed the stingrays. That is a definitive SeaWorld experience, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is, I'd rather feed sharks, but stingrays,
Stingrays are fun, though.
They're giant puppies, and there's this one stingray at SeaWorld who's a leopard stingray. This thing is probably bigger than my bed, and I have a queen-size mattress. This thing is huge. Yeah. Every time, I think he recognizes me every time I put my hand in my water, because he could just be sitting there. I'll put my hand in the water, he swims over to me, just pins my arm to the wall because of how many times I've fed this big guy. And this thing's like heavy because every time he pins me into the wall, he's huge and just like boom. And he's so cool. I love stingrays.
Stingrays are the best. I always love that. We'll have to make Discovery Cove its own episode eventually because I love the stingray pool there. That was pretty neat.
Oh, great. I just realized someone posted a picture of the I-4 eyesore. It looks like the Dr. Smooth, Dr. Smurt,
whatever his name is from Phineas and Ferb. That was my first thought when I saw that.
Schmertz.
Yes.
Evil Incorporated. When
I first saw that building, I was like, okay, this is 100% that. Okay.
I live down the street from this building.
So what you're saying is that you should go squat in the building because it's abandoned and
Not abandoned.
turn it into your. Oh, it's not abandoned.
It's abandoned.
So the wiki on it says they resumed production. Well, building.
Oh.
And should be done by the end of this year.
Whoa! All right,
we'll
have to make a special episode about that eventually.
Oh, great! Okay. You hear it here first. Podcast to Ride does an episode on the parking garage at Disney in their first 10 episodes, and we're going to cover the Majesty Building on I-4.
We're gonna be the one podcast really hyped to cover this. Yeah, guys, the Majesty Building. Yeah,
I-4.
We just get super hyped over this. This becomes our legacy.
We're gonna do this one before we do the City Walk letdown.
Yeah, it says construction resumed in 2018.
No, okay, so they haven't done anything.
Well, they haven't gone far then.
Yeah, no, not with pandemic and everything.
2020 probably did not help very much.
2022 is when they plan to have it done.
I'll tell you,
better late than never.
I live next to this building. There has not been any people in this building doing any work because I drive past this building every day and I see no cars.
Can we have like a new segment on the podcast every week or every episode? You give us an update on the progress that they've made.
Absolutely, I live right next to this building. I could gladly do this.
Just take a picture every week.
Today, I saw a man with a hammer hitting the side of the building.
He broke a window.
He accidentally broke a window.
No joke. There is broken windows on this building because people.
I'm not surprised.
Orlandoans who live by this building hate the building so much where they vandalize the building.
I
love it.
I don't see what's so bad about it.
It's an eyesore.
It just looks weird.
It's an ugly design.
It's an eyesore. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's right next to Alamo Mall because I live in Alamo, Florida. Because there's like a lot of Orlando's such a big city where there's a lot of subsects to that city. Like you have Windermere, that's where Universal is, and you have I can't remember Lake Benavista is where Disney is. And I can't remember which one. I think it's not Wintermere. I think it's Winter Garden. Not Winter Garden. Yeah, I think it's Winter Gardens. That's where SeaWorld is. And you have Alamo Springs is where I live, right next to downtown. And you have the I-4 where there's no tall buildings, and you just have this I-4 eyesore just sitting right next to I-4, and right next to the mall. And there's nothing around it other than this building. It's just an eyesore.
Amazing.
See,
it just stares over the landscape.
I just like how it looks. It looks weird. I love it.
I can appreciate that. That's okay. We'll take over the building. We'll claim squatters' rights. That'll be our headquarters. We'll put a big For Your Amusement logo on the side of it.
Look, yes, that'll be the headquarters.
Florida, they'll just shoot you. It's not California where they're like, oh well, we can't do anything.
My only stipulation with that is we have to air condition every single room. Because I'm a northerner and I hate
that's fair.
There's power in this building because I had no power, but that building had power.
We are going to be the highest electricity company or company use for a building that has 3 people inside of it.
3. I told you we have an intern.
Oh, we have an intern. Okay, we'll get 4 in.
I have no idea.
We just have we have a mysterious intern
somewhere.
So, we should also have this. I'm going to introduce the final segment of our attraction, of our podcast, where I vote for Ian or you, Dan, to tweet at Jason Sheridan so he could be our first guest on this on our podcast.
We don't invite the other 2 hosts; we just invite him.
No, we'll invite them later. But we just want Jason Sheridan. Look, we love podcasts right here. There are, I think it's both of our favorite podcasts. But no, we just want Jason Sheridan to come on our show first. So you should tweet at him today. Go, hey, you inspired our podcast. Come on it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're the new childless men.
We are.
We're the 3.
You have a cat. I have a dog.
You have 2 cars.
You have 2 cars. You're set.
I'll be the bad boy of the group. I almost got kicked out of Disney World the other day.
Yeah. Oh.
I have I'll be the good one.
I'll be kind of neutral.
Perfect. So
I almost got kicked out of my own store. I did it to myself.
You did it. I didn't. I have not been kicked out of anything yet. I did walk around to Target 2 days in a row without buying anything because I couldn't find what I needed, and I'm pretty sure I was put on an asset protection watch list for that week.
Devilish fiend, you.
I'm the type I go to the mall every day and I don't buy anything. I just walk around.
See, that's fine though. When I walk through 2 specific Target stores and I look at the same 3 things, then leave without buying anything, I feel like it looks pretty suspicious.
Or you can do what I do. Go to 4 different Walmarts in Orlando looking for Mr. Beast candy bars and can't find them and get mad.
I feel like that's okay in Florida though. I feel like if I did that in California, I'd get like they'd like put me on a watch list and be like, why is he coming in here? He's been in 4 different places. He's bought nothing. He's come back here multiple times. We don't know what he's doing.
You say that, but they wouldn't put you on a watch list because you're in Florida, and they're like, "Oh, it's just another."
It is Walmart too, though.
Like it's not
Target would be more not tolerant of me casing the place. Walmart probably gets that 10 times a day, and they probably don't care at this point. So you know what? Walmart
10, being very generous there.
I'm being very generous. Walmart probably gets more depending on where you're at.
Or you can do what else I do. I literally, because I work I work down the street from Universal and SeaWorld.
Oh yeah.
Man, traffic's bad. I can see it on
my
my phone. And I go, man, I'll go to Universal, sit there at City Walk for an hour. Just go in, do 2 laps, or do 1 lap around Islands of Adventure. Probably nothing. Just walk around it. Maybe
that's fun, though.
Not Dr. Doom. Front Cat in the Hat, walk out, go into studios, go ride Men in Black, get almost 99999, walk out, walk through City Walk again. Say walk in with your can of liquid death, where the people at security think you're an alcoholic because it's only 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it looks like you're drinking beer. Or early in the morning, you go, "Why are you already drinking?" And you tell them it's water, and they don't believe you. And
fun.
And then you get back in your car, and then you drive on I-4, wasted an hour, but know what? Hey, you're not staying in traffic jam for 2 hours now. Or you could be a smart person, like I'm not, and take the express ramp and only pay $2 to get across Orlando.
Perfect. You know what? They need to install the Universal Hollywood Starway, but in Orlando. And that's how you just travel around. You just take an escalator everywhere. Not 1, you take 4 escalators.
So it's escalator land.
Yes.
That should be its own purely Odd Parents now. Escalator land.
Well, Universal Hollywood has the upper lot and the lower lot. They should just make the upper lot the Starway, and the lower lot. Like the Starway is its own land. And they can say it's 4 separate attractions, even though it's one. One.
Go ahead.
What was that?
Go ahead. I'll let you finish what you were saying. Now, say what I was going to say.
Oh, I was going to say it's only 4 separate escalators combined into one attraction.
Okay. No, I don't know if you announced, but you're coming to come see me. To go to, but you're not actually coming to see me. But I'm gonna come see you at Universal. You're coming in January, but I'm coming to California in September.
Okay.
Next year to do Horror Nights in California and do Not Scary Farm and do Disneyland. Which is going to be interesting. We're going to take one of our friends who has a biased hatred for Disney. We're going to take him to Disneyland.
We'll get his opinion on the podcast. Be like, what did you think?
I'm going to start screaming about how he hated it. Even though we went to downtown Disney. And,
okay.
We went to the Polynesian Resort. He spent the most money out of everybody at downtown Disney. And
no kidding.
Polynesian.
But he hated it, right?
Yeah, he was still screaming that Disney World is like the biggest scam ever. And then when we went to play mini golf, he had the most fun. It was videotaping and taking pictures of the mini golf course.
To be perfectly fair about that, I have an amusement park that is amazing, and it's free entry and free parking. You only pay for the rides and the food.
Oh, well, his thing is he's an artist, so he just screams about how Disney doesn't take care of abuses their artists.
That's fair. That's
fair.
So he just screams how Disney's he hates him. He has a burning hatred towards Disney. I'm like, I get it. I hate the company, but I like the parks. But he screams. But yeah, we're going to California, and I want to go with you to go do City Walk or Hollywood, and then we're going.
So we'll have everybody. We'll have a pilgrimage to City Walk, Orlando, or Hollywood rather.
Yeah. So now when you come, we'll go. Me and you, unless Ian wants to come down and join us for a quick little weekend down in Orlando, and then we can do our 3-part series on City Walk Orlando, and we will be calling it the City Walk Letdown.
Perfect.
This town has really let you down.
Yes. Well, I feel like that's a great way. Oh, so you have something to add, Blue?
I was going to say it'd probably be more entertaining to go to Knott's Berry Farm than anywhere else.
We'll do a whole part series on the Knott's Marketplace.
Just because I am a food fiend.
Knott's Berry Farm does have very good food.
Boysenberry.
The Boysenberry Festival. Fantastic.
Can I give boysenberry to my cat?
I don't know if you can or not. You will have to Google that.
Can Ella ingest boysenberry? Can I give boysenberry to the eyesore?
You can. You can do that. I don't know if the building will like it, but you can definitely do that.
So, let's declare war on podcast Sarai, and then we'll end the episode.
We're just taking pot shots just to take pot shots.
We're not taking pot. No, we're taking pot shots. Trying to get them on our podcast. That's what we're doing.
Perfect.
Look,
by declaring war.
They have Michael Eisner. They're trying to get on the podcast, and there are Michael Eisner We're trying to get them on our podcast. We're not talking drunk about them. We're just going we love them so much. But come on our cast.
Well, they're getting Michael Eisner. We're getting Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
To tie it all together. He won't say anything to us, but he'll sit there staring menacingly from a distance.
He's just in my webcam.
Yes. Well, I think that's a pretty solid way to tie things together. That was our Journey to Atlantis episode.
Among other things.
Among other things. Journey to Atlantis, Atlanta, and Orlando.
That's a good episode name for this. Journey to Atlanta.
I will. Yeah, I will definitely write that in. Now, is there anything else you guys want to add before we sign off for now?
Yeah, we could sign that. Are we done recording?
We will be in just a moment.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Nothing else to say? Awesome. Well, you know what? Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for riding along our hypothetical rides. And we're going to talk to you. Now, we do have to talk about what our next one is going to be about. We had a couple different options. I think we shuffled the list around a tiny bit.
Disney Quest is next.
We want to do Disney Quest next? Okay, so you heard it here first.
Either that or episode, or we could do Alien Encounter.
We'll do Alien Encounter. Let's make a special Halloween episode.
Okay, that could be our Halloween episode.
We'll do that.
I'm getting rid of the never mind. Let's see. Year-round haunts.
Yeah, we should probably do Alien Encounter next if we're doing that for Halloween.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
so we'll do
year-round haunts.
We could do either or.
I'm a all year-round haunt. I'm a scare actor.
Let's do year-round haunts, then we'll add that in. We'll move that into our next. So you heard it here. Our next episode is year-round haunts. These are going to be Universal. This is going to be other places that have haunts.
There's really none that are still standing. I don't think Orlando has it anymore.
That's true. I think Universal had one year-round haunt and it's gone now.
2 of them.
But we'll talk about the ones that were there. We'll talk about the cool stuff we know. And yeah, that'll be our exciting episode.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for listening once again, and we'll see you next time.